Welcome to Arsenal Above All. Well, things stayed exactly the same at the top of the table following Man City's win over Nottingham Forest yesterday. And sadly, it looks like, the title's theirs for the taking. But we're not bothering about that because, Neil, we did it. We won the Tottenham Intergalactic Boombastic Cup final. They lost their own cup final, Neil. They had the trumpets out, the flags are out and everything. And we done them again, mate. We done them. It's a double. You saw them crying and everything, going home and stuff like that. Fantastic stuff, amazing stuff. We've got Lauren and Neil to go through all of that with me tonight. But before all of that, let's go. Welcome to the show. I've got Lauren Dempsey, the good luck charm. This is, I think, her appearance, and each time she's been talking about an Arsenal win. So how are you, Lauren? It's great to see you.
Yeah, I'm great, especially after the win yesterday. I was just going to say as well, the opening credits for this podcast, they always get me going. They're very emotive, and I'm really in the mood now to talk about the results yesterday. So yeah, delighted to be back as always. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming back on. Really, really appreciate it. Lauren's got a tremendous podcast called the Ladies in Red podcast. It covers all the Arsenal women's news and reviews of the latest games. They drew 1-1 at the weekend, didn't they? And disappointing result. But please follow that. It's a brilliant show. Congrats on that. It's doing really well. That's the Ladies in Red podcast. Thanks for joining me tonight. And I've also got the man, the myth, the legend, the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, Neil Shah. How you doing?
I'm wonderful. I mean, who wouldn't be after an NLD victory? And Lauren, thank you for saying that about the opening credits, because Michael has done a shortened version, and I'm like, I love it, but the longer version just gets me going as well. It pumps you, it just gets you in the mood, doesn't it? Especially after a victory like that. So there you go, Michael. See, there you are.
Yeah, all right. I hear you. Yeah, it will be sticking around for a while. Don't worry. No, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. And after coming on to talk about a famous win, another statement win so far. And before I start, I have to say to both of you, happy birthday, many happy returns to you both. Because you realize what I'm talking about is in the next questions. Because Lauren, I don't know how many years you aged in that last 20 minutes, but was it 5, 10, 15, 20 years? we probably go and talk about that.
I lost count, to be honest.
It's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. But we'll start at the top. Obviously, we went into that game off the back of a tremendous result against Chelsea midweek. Again, another huge statement win. Took them apart, and we've gone into this game yesterday with Tottenham being on the back of a 2-week break, obviously off the back of their defeat against Newcastle. But what was your thoughts on that first half performance? Because taking into that account the fact that it was our fourth game in 10 days, it was their first in 2 weeks. What was your thoughts on that whole first half performance, really, overall? Because it was just a bit. We weren't as, for me, we weren't as controlling of the game as we normally are. I think we had a few players taking a few chances, taking a few bad touches. But what was your thoughts in just how that first half played out? It was just a strange first half for me. But what did you think?
Oh, who's that to? Me or Lauren?
Oh, sorry, to Lauren. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I thought, do you know what? It was one of those first halves that didn't really make sense in terms of we were 3 goals up pretty early on, and we didn't really have that many clear-cut chances. It kind of came out of nowhere. Sorry to drop the spoiler so early on, but it was it wasn't a controlled or composed first half, I would say, but we were so comfortable throughout. And I don't know whether that was just us not looking very sharp or Spurs not really looking as though, they didn't really look as though they'd had the 4-game or the 2-week break, whatever it was, I thought they looked like the team that were a bit more disjointed, a little bit lethargic in a way, more than we did, which benefited us greatly. In terms of the team that played, I see it up there on the screen now, I thought it was, pretty standard. I don't think I would have changed anything really considering the result against Chelsea, so I was happy with that. But overall it was a strange one, but I enjoyed it. That's the main thing. It was definitely the more enjoyable of the halves from yesterday, for sure.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, Neil, for me, just, going in at halftime 3-0 up, normally you're kind of, you're buzzing, you're kind of wild with this, amazing performance, but it was just really strange for me. Could you put a finger on that? Do you think it was just the way that maybe Arteta decided to go out and just let them have the ball, knowing that they weren't going to really hurt us, or did you think it was nerves? Again, as I touched on before, there's just a couple of players, Trossard and Tomiyasu on that left-hand side. They look really, really rattled. And there was an article in The Athletic where they always seem to put the spotlight on Arsenal for some reason. And then they kind of asked all the different managers, what are Arsenal's strengths, what are Arsenal's weaknesses? And all of them pretty much said the left-hand side is the way you can get in, which is the side, our left-hand side. And we obviously know one of the reasons is because of Timber being in, because I think if he had been in, there wouldn't have been an issue. But do you think that's what it was? It was just the fact that they were focusing all their attacks down that side, and it was just the sense of the occasion, or did you think it was something else?
I don't know. I think you're right. I was watching it and thinking, why are we not, on the front foot? Why are we not pressing high? But they were certainly doing all of that. It was a bit nervous at times, and it was after that first goal, it completely settled me. But up until that point, I mean, they had some chances as well. That Romero, what his name is, he was actually probably their best player. He was doing really well. He had some chances, and he was battling all the way through. And I think he really wanted to redeem himself because he scored the own goal in the reverse fixture, didn't he? I think it was. So and he hit the woodwork, didn't he? So they seemed to be all up for it. But like Lauren said, they weren't completely at it, if that makes sense. There wasn't. There was something missing, and that I think let us off in that first half a little bit, because while they were doing the pressing, they were playing so high up. And I was watching it with Dean. I think you may know him, Michael. I'm not sure, but he said I think Arteta set it out like this to hit them on the counter. And kind of that is how it played out, certainly for the second goal anyway. But I agree with the left position. And I think the only thing the left position can be down to, of course, Timber is a massive factor, but it's because it's been so disjointed. At least on the right, it's been pretty much White and Saka.
Yeah. And
they've got to know each other so well. And White wasn't probably at his best the first half of the season, but come the turn of the year, he's been absolutely outstanding. Yeah. And then, of course, they have Odegaard helping them up with those triangles as well. On the left, it's disjointed. We've had Zinchenko, we've had Kiwior, we've had Tomiyasu, we had Timber for half a game. And I don't... And plus, of course, then you've got the interchange between Martinelli and Trossard. So it's been disjointed. And I don't think it's any particular player's fault. I don't think we've found a consistent pairing for that side. That's what it boils down to. But to be honest, you can't have many complaints about the first half. We were 3-0 up. I mean, what more can you say? We could have even maybe had another one. But I thought the lads sucked it up well. End of the day, they've had 2 weeks off. We've had 4 games. So you'd expect, and they're at home. So you expect probably them to be the more kind of more controlled and more aggressive side, you would say. But I thought we handled them really well, considering all of those facts. So I was happy with it, to be fair, and a bit nervous, but nothing like the second half. Now I know my beard was black. Now you can see how much I've aged.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, as usual against those guys, it's always a nervy one, isn't it? Even when you're up quite as comfortably as we were. We'll go into the second half in a bit, but it's just there was too many things happening. A lot of things happened in the first half. Yes, Romero hit the post. He started off with Havertz scoring a goal, which was ruled offside. It looked at the end of the day it was offside. And then obviously we had the goal, which came from a set piece. Again, it was Saka creating an own goal of sorts, almost the same as he did last year. And it was great for him because obviously we've heard all the abuse and everything he's got before taking the corner and everything as well. But he stepped up massively, again people doubt him and say, he's looking a bit ropey. He needs to come out again, Lauren, and he just produces the goods again. Another assist. His goal, the way he linked up with Havertz for his goal as well. All the while getting kicked all over the pitch again. By Ben Davies. I mean, what was your thoughts on his performance? And just again, how much you can see how much it meant to him because of the whole Halen connection. But
for sure,
because I think he ended up with the captain's armband at the end as well.
Yeah.
He sort of said to them, "Let's go over to the fans," because he was like to the away end. But what do you think of his performance? The way he took his goals, I should say.
I thought he was brilliant. I really thought, if the game had ended at halftime, I think, he probably would have got man of the match, him or Havertz. I think they both put in an excellent shift. It's kind of hard to distinguish between the two of them, but I thought Saka really looked up for it again. Like you mentioned, there has been some questions of his form this season. People saying, he hasn't really been producing the same way he was last season. He's getting a lot from penalties, this, that, the other. But at the same time, he is not a striker, he's a winger, and a lot of the the value that he adds to the team is the runs he makes, is he draws 2-3 players out, and there's creating space then for the players in the box when they're there, that kind of way. So I thought it was a brilliant performance for him, probably one of the best we've seen in a long time. And yeah, like I mentioned, Havertz, I was blown away by him in the first half as well. I think just thinking about the link up play for the second goal, that was a work of art. I don't think you could have pinpointed any part of that goal any better than it was. Saka obviously got the ball, passed it out to Havertz, and then he made the run. It was just, it shows the drive that he has. And he did end up with the captain's armband. I thought Odegaard, as brilliant as he was, I thought he looked a bit tired towards the end. Understandable. I don't think any player in the Premier League runs as much as he does. He gives everything. So I was pretty happy to see him come off. And yeah, for Saka to end up with the captain's band was just a bit of a cherry on the cake, really. Phenomenal performance. And yeah, I think he probably would have been my man of the match, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Yeah, again, because of the treatment he gets and the way he was just getting absolutely volleyed around by Ben Davies, was ridiculous. And it was kind of ironic that he was the one that ended up getting volleyed by Declan Rice to win them a penalty. So maybe there's a bit of karma or something. And I think he went off straight after that. So it was pretty damaging. But another guy who you could kind of say was up there, Neil, for man of the match was Kai Havertz, who, I hold my hands up. I've said on this show plenty of times, I don't know what that transfer was about. He's not a left day, and he just looks so out of sorts. And look at him now. Another goal, another assist. He got 2. Midweek against Chelsea. Just an absolute phenomenal performance. I think the best bit from his performance was when he absolutely shoved Maddison into next week, when he just disappeared. I don't know if he came back. I think he disappeared. I don't think he featured in the game for the rest of it. I know he got subbed after an hour or something, but I think that was it. I think he just knew that you're playing against some big boys here, and But what can you say about his turnaround and what that says for Mikel Arteta's his talent ID, but also just the vision and the way he's just seeing things in a different way to everybody else, and that not just him, obviously his coaching and the people that who he worked with to get him to this point. But what do you say about Havertz's performance in that first half and the whole game?
What I'd say about Havertz generally is I think he's become my favourite player at the moment, because he's just doing it everywhere. I mean, look, you can't. We all talk about Odegaard and Saka and Saliba and Gabriel at the back, and of course, rightly so, and Ben White as well. But Havertz for me is the most improved player. He's just gone from basically causing a lot of problems for the fan base in the sense that, everyone was a bit dumbfounded with the signing, as you said, and didn't know what his role was. And then plus, when he first started, he unbalanced the team. It wasn't his doing, but by featuring him in that middle position, we were pushing Partey to an inverted right back, which is just almost nonsensical. And although I think we got a couple of wins, it just didn't work for me, and I guess most of the people watching. And then all of a sudden, we saw snippets of him in the 9 in the Community Shield, and I think against Man City again, I think it was, he featured as the 9, and it just showed that how wonderful he plays in that role. And he just reminds me now of the player that he was at Leverkusen, not the player that he was at Chelsea. And it does go a long way for the likes of the scouting team and Arteta and Edu to see something in him which probably not many managers in the Premier League would have seen. I don't think there would have been a buyer in the Prem for him other than us. He would have maybe had to go back abroad potentially. And while it was
Bayern and Real Madrid that were interested in him,
there you go.
You're spot on. Yeah, spot on.
I didn't even know that, and it just makes sense. And I think that is a testament to our scouting team and the manager and Edu, etc. But he's just so. I mean, that goal, like Lauren described perfectly. I mean, he's past his vision. It was almost like a telepathic thing between the two of them, because as Lauren rightly said, Saka actually passed it to him initially from Rice, and I'll tell you what it reminded me in a completely different context, but it reminded me of when Adam scored that goal against Everton when we won the league, and it's almost like he actually said to Bolt, "I'm going forward, pass it to me," and it just when I saw it, it just reminded me of that. It's like, I'm going. Just send the ball across. But it was so well taken by Saka, but the ball was pinpoint as well. And what Havertz is doing, guys, he's such a nuisance up front. Like, again, I think I've said it on other podcasts. It's like Jesus is there, and he's not a prolific goal scorer, but it's all the other stuff he does. I think Jesus has added, Kai has added the goals as well to that. He does the other bits, but now he's actually scoring, and he can score with his head as well as his feet. And we can see that. I mean, look, the goal the third goal was a header from him on a corner. So I think he is, I would say that at the moment, he's probably one of our most valuable players. And he also seems very strong. And I don't want to tempt fate, and I'm touching my head to say touch wood, but I think he'll, he's one of these ones who's not going to suffer too many injuries, touch wood again. But he seems like a really strong player. And the Maddison thing was a perfect example of that. We used to be bullied, Michael, Lauren. You know that. We used to be bullied off the park, especially by those more physical teams. We're doing the bullying now. We're the ones. We've got the strong players, Rice, even White. White loves it, and he loves a bit of argy-bargy. He's funny with it. He's comical. He's like, I don't know what he was doing with the goalkeeper, some foreplay going on, but it was really not impressing their goalkeeper one bit, was he? But we're showing that we are not going to be taking any rubbish from anyone. He's brilliant, guys. He's brilliant.
Yeah. It was a brilliant way to cap off that half with him getting that goal from the corner. And Declan Rice, another assist for him, and more numbers again for Havertz as well. And you're just thinking 3-0 half time. You're just thinking this is weird. We're 3-0 up and we haven't really played well. And they've had their chances as well. So then you're going to the second half. You're thinking, okay, let's get the next goal, and then just let's absolutely empty out their stadium, and it was a bit empty just after half time. I think a few of them decided to go away, maybe to line up, get a space on the trophy parade, thinking they was going to get a good space at the front row. I don't know, but yeah, we started the second half in pretty good control. Tomiyasu had a chance, I think, from a free kick, and he headed over, and I thought that was a bad miss. But I just think generally, we just got a little bit sloppy, Lauren. It looked like we were just, I think Paul Merson mentioned it yesterday, which led to Raya's error. It was like kind of taking liberties. And I think since the start of the second half of the season, after Dubai, where we've had these 5-0s and 6-0s and everything, the difference in those ones is like we went 2 and 3-0 up and we carried on. And we had our foot down on people's necks, and we went on and we absolutely were ruthless. I just think yesterday was the first time we didn't have that ruthlessness in us. We kind of just, Odegaard was getting the ball. He was taking too many touches. He just wasn't releasing it that quick enough. And I just think that sort of transmitted and it was almost like it got too easy, and then it went to Raya, and yeah, I still look. It gets worse every time you see it. I just don't know what he was trying to do. The pass, even if it went through to Partey, he had someone right up him. So I don't know what he expected him to do. I know he's come out and said today, spoke after the game, and he said, it's a mistake and he will learn from it, and fair play for him to coming out. And he says, obviously, it's true. The goalkeeper makes a mistake, it's pretty much a goal, isn't it? If you have a particular Nottingham Forest forward who misses a hat trick of chances from 2 yards out, everyone kind of shrugs their shoulders, and then you find out the next day he's a Man City fan and he's got all these tweets about loving Man City, and then you think, okay, now I can see why he all of a sudden he couldn't use his feet properly. It's funny that, but anyway, no conspiracy. But yeah, just what was your thoughts on that and the position it put us in, Lauren, in terms of, because for me, I was having flashbacks to last season, to Anfield and the London Stadium at West Ham, where we went ahead and we just, oh my God, it's happening again. But what was your thoughts on that situation and just how we reacted to that, especially again after the Rice, and how we kind of, focused and tried to, weather the storm a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a different pace the second half, I would say, for the players, for the fans as well, more importantly. I think everyone got a bit nervous. But, it's one of those games as well. You can talk about Chelsea to some extent, but it's still not the same rivalry that exists between the two clubs here. So you can imagine Spurs really did come out with a lot more fire. And maybe we didn't have that. We thought, okay, it's been easy so far. And we just kind of misread what was going to happen. What was going to happen in the second half. They came out a lot hungrier, a bit more pressure. I hate to say, I don't think they played terribly in the second half. I don't think we were lucky, because I think fortune favors the brave, and we did enough to keep the result as it was and to come away with the 3 points. So I don't mean they were lucky in a sense, or we were lucky in a sense, but I think the mistakes that we made, apart from those mistakes that we made that led to the goals, they didn't have that many clear-cut chances. And, again, it's a credit to the defending that we do so well, that we are able to control games. And it was unfortunate that we had the mistakes. And again, I think whether it was complacency after the amount of games, the congestion of games, whether it was misreading the situation of the match, so like in match management from the players, from the manager, whoever it was, I just think we kind of came out and we didn't really know how to get it back in our control. But again, like we said, the first half wasn't fully in our control, so I don't think we really had full control on the match from start to finish at all. But going back to last season, I think the strength of the team is shown in that we were able to grind down, I think it was 6 added minutes, and it went on for much, much longer than that. It felt like it went on for much, much longer than that. I think there might have been 2 extra minutes. Felt like a lifetime. But yeah, even just to be able to really dig in and get a gritty result like that, not playing the best of football, playing a team who were really up for it in the second half, who were throwing everything at it, I think it's a massive testament to us. And again, while there were mistakes, I don't think we did that much wrong. And yeah, the mistakes were big. Obviously, we can focus on them. I think Raya, how many games has he played in an Arsenal shirt now? How many mistakes has he had? Very, very few. It's not the end of the world. Penalty, he went the right way. I think it was a bit unfortunate. I actually think the Bayern Munich goal, Harry Kane's goal for Bayern Munich, was on his mind, because he seemed to go a lot slower than he has in previous penalties. So I don't know if there was that as well. Obviously, Kane being an ex-Spurs man as well. I don't know what it was. But look, the main thing is we got the result. And I do think it does show that growth that we've been calling for. We don't want the team to fumble again. And look, you can go back to the Villa results. That might have been seen as a bit of a fumble. But at the end of the day, they're in 4th in the league. They're not a bad team. And they have Emery, who knows how Arsenal works inside out. He's been there. He brought Saka through. I mean, if any manager is going to be able to nullify us, more than likely it's going to be Emery, because he knows how the club works. He knows how the players interact and that kind of thing. So look, was it awful? Wasn't a great 45 minutes, or however long it was, 45 years, some might say. But at the end of the day, it does still show the progression and the direction that the team are going in, and the players who were there last year, the players we brought in to strengthen that, credit to them. I think in-game management was okay. I think the substitutes that were made, they didn't affect the game negatively or immensely positively, but they kept it at bay. So yeah, I think there's probably a lot more positives to take from this than negatives, considering where we are at in the league, at the stage of the league. I mean, you know, a few games left to go, the level of opposition we're up against in terms of the rivalry being in their stadium away from home, and just the fire that they showed coming out in the second half. They really looked like they wanted it more, and we were still able to come away. So yeah, I'm going to try to stay positive anyway. That's my outlook.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, it's the run-in, and you want to get the win. You know, whatever it is. I think I said somewhere, I sent a message in another group, I'll take a 5-4 again. You know, as long as we win. You know, because when you look at the record books, you don't look at everything else. You just see what the score was, and that's it. And you saw the reaction afterwards, Neil. With the players afterwards, you know, when the final whistle went. But just going back on the goals, it's like, you know, you're seeing lots of narratives from Tottenham fans saying, "Oh, we were the better team. You know, we had with all the metrics, we were higher. The XG, you know, well, when you've got practically an open goal which has been given to you by Raya, pretty much, and a penalty, that's why your XG is going to be higher than Arsenal's one was, which is people don't want to look at that, But yeah, is it a worry that this is the second North London derby where we've just given them 2 goals? You know, we did the same thing in the first game at the Emirates when we should have won. Obviously, Jesus puts his chance away. We go 2-0 up, and then it's a different game. But then we give away a really silly goal when Son scores, and then Jorginho slips, and then lets Maddison go through to give it to Son. So we gave them 2 goals there. We gave them 2 goals here. You know, that seems to be a little bit of Achilles' heel. We gave Bayern kind of 2 goals when we played them at the Emirates as well. We're gifting a lot of goals, and yeah, we got the win. But is that a slight concern now, or is it, or like I just said, is it just getting it over the line, regardless of that, and just digging in? You know, especially with what we've got to cut with who we're up against. You know, in City. And the tricky games that we still got to play. I think we've still got 2 tricky games out of the 3 that we've got left, especially the one on Saturday. But what's your thoughts on just how we closed out that second half, Neil, and just how we kind of, you know, not letting them back in, you know, because I think if Raya doesn't make that mistake, I think we were literally on the verge of getting another goal. Saka had that shot which was saved by Vicario, but I think just if he doesn't make that mistake, I think we close out either 3-0, 4-0, or maybe they get a goal. But what was your thoughts on just how that unraveled, and your heart rate and everything else, how that all went skew riff like everybody else's?
You don't want to talk. I don't even want to talk about my health, because my health was bad for that second half. It was not good. It was not in a good place. I was livid with Raya, I have to say. I put a tweet out, and most people agreed. A lot of people said, why are you fueling negativity and all that? I'm like, hang on a minute. It's the heat of the moment. Football is a moment's game, and you're talking about fans who are already a nervous wreck, and it's passionate. And you feel when you see something like that, when, as you said, we're in relative control. They did come out better in the second half. As I said, I think Romero was the linchpin of that. But I think that end of the day, we still were in control. And a lot of that, I'll have to quickly mention. There's a couple of things I want to mention about the first half as well, if I get a chance later.
Yeah, go for it.
But I think Partey and Rice worked really well, especially in those last 5 to 10 minutes, because if it weren't for them, they possibly could have got that final goal. And I thought they were brilliant. And they, again, reminded me of the Vieira-Petit partnership. They're really helping each other. They're allowing progression, but they're also helping out the defence in more ways than you can count, because all right, we always focus on Gabriel and Saliba, and rightly so, but you've got to look at their movement and what they're doing to help them. Gabriel might get the last touch off the attacker, or Saliba might do, but you look at Partey's movements, for example, they're closing the attacker down to basically narrow that space for the attacker. And it's stuff like that which I think a year, 2 years ago we wouldn't have seen. I think one of the guys actually said this pretty much the same thing on Match of the Day, and when I watched the highlights. So I think it was a great inclusion for Partey, and I'll go with that again on Saturday. Look, I love Jorginho, by the way. I want him to get an extra year. I love him. I think he's been invaluable for us, and he has to stay. But I think Partey, for these last 3 games, if he's fit, he needs to partner Rice. That's how I see it. So I'm digressing. I really am sorry. So I was just
going to say, Neil, it's just great that he actually played the full 90 minutes as well, which I think a lot of people haven't sort of clocked. But he played the whole game. So
yes.
So his fitness is pretty much where it needs to be. He's been coming off, quite early, but he played the whole 90 minutes. But sorry.
No, that's fine. So I thought that goal, I think you're right. We probably would have gone on to get 1 or 2 more. That Saka missed. Look at Havertz assist for it. Again, Havertz brilliant. We were highlighting how Saka and Havertz earlier, and that's another example. If Saka had put that in, converted it, the assist from Havertz was superb. So, and that would have changed things. I think Raya really unbalanced everything, and then we were on the back foot. We speak about Odegaard. I actually think Odegaard's carrying an injury, but he's just fighting through because he's a captain. I think he's, you were saying he's taking longer, and I think he's either burnt out because he's been amazing for us. He's done a lot of running. Lauren, you were saying Saka's done a lot, but Odegaard as well has done so much work for the club, and I think he's either carrying a knock, or he's burnt out, or a bit of both. And I think that's why I went off. My heart sank when you substitute. I thought, no, not now. This is really crucial. We need him on the pitch because we need our captain. But, it played out okay in the end. But I think we as Lauren says, I think it's a mature performance. We easily could have capitulated in this game, and we didn't. We really held strong. We held firm. That's a lot to say about the mentality of the team. Am I worried about it, Mike? Well, you mentioned that we're leaking goals, Bayern, Tottenham at home, Tottenham away, but we've still got the best defensive record, haven't we? The defense has been pretty solid. We have given away silly goals. That has been a little bit of a problem, I think, over the last few years with us, really. But I think we're getting better. We're solidifying that defense more and more, and I just think that you got to think about the occasion, Michael. And once Raya had made that mistake, that's not the defense's fault, is it? It's just a silly error from a goalkeeper, and then you're gonna that was gonna give them the impetus to be on the front foot after that. And the crowd their voices came alive, and it was always going to be hard from there. The fact that we still got 3 points, as what Saka said brilliantly in the interview. He says, "Oh, you don't want that in the next 3 games." He goes, "Why not? It's 3 points," and he walked off. And that summed it up. It's 3 points, and that's what we want. I know City are quite capable of closing that goal difference down very quickly, maybe in 2 games. But at the moment, we've got them in the bank, and as long as we win our next 3 games, we're in the shout. We're still got a shout for the title. So, but yeah, that's that. I don't see it as a problem because we wouldn't be where we are now. If it was last season, it was different because we leaked lots of goals, and that's what eventually we lost the title. But we're still there, Michael.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we keep going back to it. It's just getting the win, isn't it? Just getting the win over the line. If there's a couple of bumps in the road or a couple of individual errors or mistakes, Raya had his one, Rice had his one, which was really strange of him, to do that in that situation. You kind of know that you don't dangle your leg out in that with a bouncing ball in the box, or if he hadn't done that ball would have bounced and would have been cleared and stuff. But again, someone like him, the situation was getting to him, and as well. But no, touch on what you said about Havertz as well. He was ill apparently. I think he was ill the night before as well, and he played through that. I think Arteta said that he wasn't well. So again, this guy, he's playing through it. I think Odegaard definitely is, as you said, Neil. He took a bit of a whack second half, and he looked in real trouble. Like he was really, really struggling, and it might have been something that wasn't something. I think it was in his calf, so it might have been that as well, that he's aggravated it with that challenge he got as well. But no, absolutely spot on. We've got the win. We dunked on them. Sent Totteringham's Day sealed in their toilet bowl. Dented their Champions League hopes. Not too much, because we kind of want to hope that they get a result at the weekend against Liverpool, against a dented Liverpool, so they can go into that. Because they've got Chelsea on Thursday, I believe, and that could be anything. So you kind of want them to win. Actually, want them to win that game. God, what's happened to me? Have I actually just said that on my?
No,
on my,
you're right, because they have something to play for against City. You're
yes,
absolutely right.
that's what I'm leaning to. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying it, but you know what they'll do? They'll beat Chelsea. They'll get a result against Liverpool, and they'll just collapse against against City, and it will be like, you mugs, you absolute muppets. You did all of that for nothing. That is proper Spursies. They're going to do that, isn't it? They are actually going to do that. But yeah, we kind of want them to be in the mix a little bit, because you look at what's to come, and the title race. Lauren, obviously, you get City winning their game, and they've got who's they got at the weekend? How can I not know that?
It's Wolves, I think.
Wolves. What do you think, Lauren? Do you think it's inevitable that they're going to do what they usually do? Because that's why I kind of thought when they got knocked out of the Champions League, I was a little bit disappointed, because once we got knocked out, I was like, okay, I kind of want them to go through, because I want them to have that extra game. They would have had a game this week in the Champions League first leg against Bayern, or it would have been us. Could you imagine us playing them again now in this stage? It would have been horrible. It would have been absolutely horrible to go through that. If it was another club, Real Madrid, then you kind of said, okay, but if it was against City, it would have been absolutely horrible with what's at stake. I mean, it would have been almost like a playoff or something like that for everything else. But what's your thoughts really looking ahead to the title race? Obviously, we've got Bournemouth at the weekend, and again, I'm kind of, every time I think of that game, I shudder because of what happened last year, and hope, again, the whole maturity, we've grown a little bit in terms of not being in that situation again, conceding a goal after 30 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever it was. But what's your thoughts on the actual title race, Lauren? Do you think, as Neil said, all we can do is just win our games, and if we've won our games, then we can maybe then pick the bones over the Villa defeat and stuff like that? Or can you see like a little problem maybe at Old Trafford or something like that?
Like, do you know what? I've seen so many people try to predict it, and I just don't think you can. I really just don't think you can, in terms of whether City are going to drop points, whether we're going to get all our points from our remaining 3 fixtures. You just don't know what's going to come. I think looking at it on paper, obviously City have an extra game than us, which might lead to, it maybe tire them out a bit more, but like, I can't call it. I really don't know. In terms of the games that we have coming up, you would like to think, given the form that we're in, given the growth that we've shown, given how much we seem to have improved on our fall down from last year, that we should be able to go into all of these points and go into all these 3 games and get 3 points in each of them. Obviously, Bournemouth's going to be difficult, but it's at home. Everton, I'm relatively confident in, and I hate to say that because I don't want to jinx anything, but the thing is, they're not really fighting for anything at this point. They seem relatively safe where they are. United away, you don't know what you're going to see with them, but I still think pound for pound we're much better than they are. We're everything that they think they are. They're just so far away from being anywhere near a functioning unit as a team. It's a group of individuals who go out and play, and you never know which version of them are going to play, that kind of way.
Like Chelsea, aren't they, really?
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, in terms of our games coming up, there's no need to doubt why we wouldn't get all the points unless a drastic injury occurs or something like this. But, fingers crossed that we can keep playing our strongest 11, whoever that might be. Maybe we're going to see a bit more rotation for Bournemouth, and then Man United. I think the left back is probably the key position at the moment, because we have 3 players who can play there, and Tomiyasu, Kivior and Zinchenko, and I really think that's going to be the position that determines whether we come away from our final 3 games with all the points. In terms of City, you can just hope. All you can do is hope, really. And there's definitely some difficult games there for them. West Ham, they're not an easy team to go away and play against. They have them at home, excuse me. Spurs as well away, you know, they made it tough for us. Like you said, it's going to be very, very typical of them to absolutely throw that game just for the sake of it. Who knows? But, you know, again, Fulham, Wolves, they're not the easiest of games. And as much as we can sit here and think, okay, this is going to happen, you just don't know until the game actually starts. Because I think thinking about the Forest game as well, I thought, you know, City are going to absolutely bulldoze them, but that wasn't the case. And I didn't watch it, but I was listening to it, and it sounded like it was a very even game, and Forest had some really, really good chances. So you don't really know what's going to come. And in terms of Liverpool, I think we're good with them. I think they're doing our work for us, so it's fine.
Yeah. So I'm kind of thinking possibly the Fulham game. You know, you just again Fulham, you're relying on Bernd Leno to not chuck anything in. You know, Jack kind of calls him biscuit hands, and he was kind of true to form against Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. Would it be nice for West Ham to do something? David Moyes to help out his old mate, his old club captain, against his they're both their old teams to win the title on the last day. That would be amazing. But yeah, all it needs is a draw, and hope that they don't. The main thing is that you don't want them to kind of, as Neil mentioned earlier, absolutely take a chunk out of the goal difference in the next couple of games, because you can see them do that against Wolves, because Wolves are on the beach. There's nothing for them to do. Fulham, again, you don't know what they're going to be like or up against. Or, the likes, they can turn it on. Obviously, they've beaten us. They're taking 4 points off of us this season, haven't they? And obviously, yeah, Tottenham. It could all boil down to that one, and then it's all about bettering their result on the last day. But I think, Neil, as we spoken at the start of the season, we all kind of said, you know, if you put your money down on who's going to win the league this year, it would have been City. But all we kind of said is, let's just take it to the last day. You know, let's just take it to the last day of the season. That's it. That's progress, you know, compared to this time last year where it was all done and dusted. And that's still on, right? To take it to the last day and more, you know, if things go away. But what's your thoughts on running? I know Lauren mentioned rotation, but because we've got just one game a week, do you think he'll do that? Do you think he needs to do that? Do you think he just needs to just get the team that we've played the last couple of games, just get that team out, get the job done, and then you can sort of maybe pull people? But because I think, as Lauren said, I think the only thing you can maybe change is the left-hand side again, as we mentioned. Maybe that is pulling Tomiyasu out, and maybe Zinchenko in against Bournemouth, which I saw the reactions. I saw a little flinch there, a little triggered a little bit of trauma there for you both. Sorry about that. I shouldn't mention his name. But maybe he comes in. Maybe Martinelli comes in as well. But would you rotate much, Neil? Or would you just keep it that strong 11 that's started the last 2 games?
Firstly, I don't really like to talk about other teams because we can't affect what they're doing. But if you were to push me, I actually think that the place where Manchester City could falter is Fulham away. I don't think Tottenham are going to do us any favours, by the way. I just can't see it for the life of me. I can't. Just the way that fella did for Forest, I couldn't believe that he's a City fan, and that was an open goal he missed. It's not rocket science again needed to work that one out, is it really? Yeah. So that for me is where I'm hopeful. But let's see. Like Lauren says, it's so difficult. You know, there still could be twists and turns right until the last day of the season. Who knows? And hopefully they'll work in our favour. But as for us, and that's the most important thing, I wouldn't change anything. I just wouldn't. I think the team we've got at the moment is doing it. Yeah, we weren't at our fluent best against Tottenham, even in the first half, even though we were 3-0 up. I still think that that's the team to go with. I think if there is going to be a change, the only one I would tinker with is Martinelli and Trossard. There is something not quite right with Martinelli. I don't know if it's off form, it's the injury or whatever it is. There's something not quite right, but he did something good in defence late on yesterday, and I think it might be worth giving him a chance. I would rather have him swap with Trossard than put Zinni in defence for Tomiyasu. I would do that. Bournemouth are no mugs. Look, I know it might seem like one of those games where we're just going to walk over them. No, don't for a second think that. We've still got the pressure on us, and we've got to do the business. End of the day, I've always said that any team can beat any team in the Premiership, no matter what the situation. So we've got to take it very seriously. I think we've got to be switched on absolutely now for the remaining, what is it? My maths serves right, 270 odd minutes or whatever it is we've got left of football. We've got to be completely switched on for every second. We can't afford another Raya mistake, because we know how good City are. They are not going to make any mistakes, so we've got to match them. I think we've also got to match their goals, or get as close to them as possible, because it could be that it will come down to that on the last day of the season, and we must be ahead no matter what. So you're right. We can only hope Wolves might turn, give up and submit to them, but let's hope they don't submit too badly and it's not a car crash in terms of goals. I just feel that we've just got to keep our faith and belief and hope that we can just get 9 points, and that's all we can do. But one game at a time, right? And let's just hope firstly we do the business against Bournemouth. Just going back to what Lauren said earlier about the Villa, I think also the other thing, I think Villa was a blip, Lauren. But also something really, a Liverpool friend actually said to me yesterday. He said, I think we probably didn't do you a favour by losing to Palace, because by losing to Palace, it put the pressure on you to absolutely have to win against Villa. And I think that might have had a negative effect on you guys. And I think there's actually something in there that it added that extra pressure on us. And I think, and maybe you're right. Obviously, Emery knows us inside out, and there's that as well. And look, they're no mugs. Look at them. They're not doing badly, are they? Emery's doing the job. So it was a difficult game. And if we were to analyse the season, if it doesn't go our way, I would rather look at the 2 or 3 games between Christmas and New Year where we capitulated. That, I think, is where things went horribly wrong. I would put Villa down as just a blip, and all teams have a blip. Even Man City have lost a couple of games. So, that happens in football. Unless, of course, you're Arsenal, the Invincibles, then that's a different matter. But only we can do that. And just wanted to quickly say, just about the first half, I know I'm going on really prodigious. It's something that really made me laugh. I'm glad Gabriel didn't have those extra glute sessions in the gym, because if he had and his bum was slightly bigger, then their goal would have been onside. So thank you, Gabriel. I know you want your bum to look nice and sexy and big and round and plump, but thankfully it doesn't. And that saved us for that first goal that was ruled offside. So there's that. And the other thing I want to mention is, Michael, please tweet that picture, because that is Little Britain to a T. I watched the highlights now and I saw those 2 fellas, and it is them. It's them. Lauren, when he shows the picture, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's absolutely hilarious. But on a serious note, I want to just give a shout to the set piece coach, because how he's got them working in the penalty box. I love the fact that there's no one on the near post, and then as the corner is taken, you've got literally every gooner and gunner there is in the world coming forward from the far post to the near post, and it completely bamboozles the defenders. And I love what Ben White is doing with the goalkeepers. It's fantastic. So kudos to the set piece coach. I think
brilliant stuff, because you go through it, and just the way that they were all at the back post and they just went forward, and Tottenham were doing zonal marking, and so they weren't even facing the players, they were facing the ball. It was crazy. It was like, under 8 stuff. They weren't even, didn't know where their men was. So amazing stuff. And that would have been down to, like you said, the set piece coach looking at that stuff and saying that's what they do, so we need to capitalize on that. So fantastic stuff. A win against them, any type of win, no matter how it is always a great win against them. The only disappointing thing was maybe the way the mistakes came and the goal difference. That we would have been 3 up. Now we went +1. City sort of grabbed one back on that because they won 2-0, and then you were kind of hoping, oh my God, they're going to get 3 or 4 here. They didn't. So again, there's that aspect in it, because I don't think I'll be able to take it if it was like, goal difference. We're 3 goals ahead of them, and we've got to beat Everton by more goals than, and then they batter West. They're like 3. Do you know what I mean? All of these scenarios are just coming through, and I said, I don't want that. Let's just beat Everton and win the league. I don't want no goal difference nonsense to come into play. But before that happens, they've got to drop a point somewhere. So let's see what happens. Hopefully for them, any one of them, whoever it is, let's just one of them do something amazing, a mad little twist at the end of the season. But no, that's a great chat, guys. Thank you very, very much for your time. It's been amazing to get another result, a record-breaking result. You know, the stats say that that was Mikel Arteta. He was the fastest Arsenal manager to 100 wins.
Oh wow!
Bukayo Saka was the first Englishman to score 15 goals in the Premier League since Ian Wright, and he's the first English player to score. Sorry, his first Arsenal player to score 2 goals in both North London derbies since Ian Wright as well, in 93-94. And yeah, he was really happy about that as well. So yeah, let's just keep it going.
And didn't yesterday's win secure? I know it's a bit silly to think that way, but it secured our Champions League place as well.
Yeah, I think the Villa result against Chelsea secured it.
Oh, did it really? Okay.
Because they had to win to keep have the possibility of them catching up. But yeah, I think their draw against Chelsea did. But yeah, yesterday confirmed it. You know, as I said before, St. Totteringham's Day. I can never say that word, but I do like saying it. Yeah, and you know, 20 points ahead of them. And you know, you had a lot of Tottenham content creators saying, "Oh, we're going to finish above Arsenal still," and you know, with 10 games to go, all nonsense like that. So yeah, it's been a great season, regardless of what happens. You know, I just hope we are not looking back at games against them at home and against Fulham at home. It's the hope, you know, hopefully it ain't going to be the home form that's going to cost us a little bit, because I think that might be it if it does. But no, thanks very much for your time, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Great chat. Lauren is going to be back for the next 3 shows because she is the good luck charm. And, whether she likes it or not, even if she appears for like 5 minutes, you know, when she disappears, that's it. She's going to be, you know, for good luck charm.
Just have my face in the corner somewhere, whatever works for you guys.
Yeah, a little sticker or something there, and it's like, that will do. Thanks very much, Lauren. You know,
thank you as well.
Subscribe to her your excellent podcast about the Arsenal women, and obviously the season's nearly up, so obviously you could obviously be doing some recap and everything about that, and hopefully what needs to happen next season to rebuild a little bit and go forward, especially with the I was going to say something naughty there, but I won't, about Emma Hayes. But now that she's out of the way, then it might just open the door for us to maybe make a charge. Obviously, Man City have kind of turned the corner as well. They're strong, and Man United as well. So hopefully this is an opportunity for us to capitalise on Chelsea's transition a little bit, how we can capitalise on Klopp going and Liverpool's transition. So it will just be mainly us and City again, hopefully next season, whatever happens. But let's see. But thanks very much, guys, for your time. Thanks for all the support. I know it's pretty close to 5,000 subscribers, which is insane. And thanks everyone for all the support and everything, and all the comments and everything. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate your time and everything as well. And just hopefully you could just keep going and you know, bigger and better things, stronger, more good chats and everything. And it'd be nice to finish it off, you know, how we want it to finish this season. But I don't want to jinx anything. I won't be saying anything else. I'm just going to press the outro in a minute and shut up. But thanks, Lauren. Thanks, Neil. Appreciate all the support. Speak to you guys soon. Come on, you Gunners. 3 games to go. Let's do it.
Remember, Giroud into the box, and they have immediately.